Alright, first moto vlog. This is going to be about who I am, what my channel is going to be about, and hopefully it helps new riders, because I am definitely new. First things is, this is a Honda CBR 500. It's a 2014. It's got a Kaufman slip-on that my brother actually gave me this bike. And I actually started in this neighborhood learning how to ride in late August. So it was pretty nice out. Right now it's winter time, but I learned on a Benelli TNT 135, and definitely different than this bike here, but it was a good experience for almost 2 months. I was waiting so hard, could not wait to get to New Hampshire, because I knew my brother had this bike and I was ready to get on a different bike. Like I said, 6'2", 245 pounds, ready to get on a different bike. Did it in my parents' neighborhood, and I was like, yeah, this bike's perfect. Good beginner road bike. I got my permit because there's no more classes for the MSF course. And yeah, it's what it is now. So no matter how you think I'm driving, I am definitely new. Things like blinkers I'm getting pretty good at, even though I never practiced that in my neighborhood. Shifting was always good for me in general, so that's good, right? But there's certain things I thought about and was like, man, I asked about, like, all right, what's the difference between front and rear brake? I don't understand. Like, 70% of the power comes from the front, 30% comes from the back. Well, I'm not gonna lie, I only use the front brake. Occasionally I'll use the back brake, but I'm pretty scared of the back brake because I just don't want to fishtail. I don't know. That was nice. Pretty much use the front brake, and I see videos where it's like you should, for muscle memory, learn to stop with the front and the rear brake, and it makes sense. It really does. 30% of your power, if you're not using your rear brake, you're losing. So I'm going to be talking about front and rear brake. I'm going to be talking about rev matching, starting off in first, engine braking, all kinds of stuff that you hear about, and it's like, I don't really know. Everybody starts at their own pace, that's for sure. I can be the first one to attest that. Like I said, I've been doing this for 2 months on a smaller bike. I'll show you a video. And in my neighborhood, got on this, and I've been riding this since late November, so not long. And obviously it's winter time, so I'm not out there like that. Today's pretty decent to go for a ride. The key with road driving, being on the road, is pay attention to your mirrors. Make sure nobody's on your butt. If they're on your butt, make sure you give yourself some distance with the truck in front of me. And always be aware. The first time I got on the road, a little scared. Not so much now, but like there's times I go out for a ride and it's like, man, this guy's on my butt. Give me some space. But understand, cars don't know about, if they never rode a motorcycle, they don't understand. They don't understand the braking system on a bike. They assume maybe it's just like their car. So you've got to be aware of that. You've got to let people know with your lights that you are braking. Engine braking is a real thing, and it definitely works. But if the car in front of you doesn't know, or the car behind you doesn't know you're braking, and you're just engine braking, well, guess what? It's going to come up on you pretty quick. Because we're pretty lazy in our cars. We get used to riding, and that's what we do. Kind of zone out a little bit, and so we got to be aware of that. Always be aware of that. Always look in your mirrors, and don't assume like this white minivan is not going to try and get in front of me just because it sees me. I'll assume it doesn't see me, even though it just passed me. Good rule of thumb. Yeah, starting off on the TNT Benelli 135, could not figure out how to actually, like the videos I see on YouTube, get the bike to just, with a little tiny bit of throttle, just move smoothly into first and get going. So after about a month or so, I said, man, I tried giving it a little more gas and letting out the throttle a little slowly, or the clutch a little slower, and it fixed that problem. Even though it wasn't as smooth, I didn't stall like I was. I was stalling all the time, to a point where I was like trying to basically not stop at a red light or a stop sign in my neighborhood. But I can tell you right now, it's because it's a Benelli TNT 135. It doesn't have the power like this bike does. Not that this bike's super powerful, it's not, but it's a great beginner bike. I'm happy with it right now. They say it's forgiving, and yeah, so far I haven't made any mistakes. I've never fallen off a bike since practicing. So the video that you saw me on with the Benelli was hold on a second. Told you I'm new. I have to kind of concentrate on what I'm doing so I don't mess up. But the Benelli just doesn't have the power. Once I got on this bike, oh shit. I guess you caught a stall. I'm not used to talking. All right, but the Benelli TNT 135 is like, it just didn't have the power. Once I got on this bike, and I guess that's for everybody. You kind of understand the friction zone before you really do anything. And that means just doing it once and letting it roll forward for a split second. And then maybe twice, I don't know. And then you go. So it's not like you're sitting there for 10 minutes going, all right, let me keep practicing. Let me keep practicing. It's not like that. You just want to see how the bike kind of takes off when you let the friction zone, when you go through it. But I haven't had any issues with this bike at all. How I started was in New Hampshire on that bike that you saw, in the UNH parking lot for the first time, and that's how I rode, pretty much how I just every day in August and September into November before I went up there for Thanksgiving. Never fell, but there are some things I will definitely say from the get-go. The front brake is no joke. You have to, you watch videos, they say load it up. You have to load it up, even if it's for a second. Like, you can't just slam on the front brake. You've got to let the weight transfer to the front a little bit before you do anything more. And it's as easy as like just lightly putting the front brake on. It'll make that fork or whatever you have come down. I'm about to go to Brandywine Creek State Park, I think it's called. And I'm going to stop and talk. Since it's nice out, I figured I'd have a destination to go to. But yeah, it's kind of cool. This experience has been really cool. I'm glad that I've decided to do it. The more comfortable you get, the better you're gonna feel. I gotta work on my U-turns, my turning in general, and I know that. I'm okay with that. I watch videos about how to tell if he's a newbie. I really don't care. I'm being safe. You know, I think about, like right now, a squirrel. What happens if I get on the top of this hill and a squirrel runs out in front of me? Motorcycle riders, new ones, well, that squirrel's dead, I can tell you that. But it's likely not that simple. Your first reaction is probably going to be to grab a brake of some sort, your front brake. And that's just what it is. Now, what you do with that front brake as soon as you grab it is what makes the difference. And probably the squirrel's life too. But engine braking is a real thing. And one thing I've learned is when I started, I didn't just go everywhere. I had a couple routes that I was literally doing. And that is just to be comfortable with turns, comfortable with, obviously there's different cars every time I go, but comfortable with some traffic. Full disclaimer, I got my permit. I can't ride at night. I can't ride before sunset or before sunrise or after sunset. I can't have anybody on the bike. Probably a good thing for both of us. Gotta wear a helmet. Gotta wear gloves. But a permit is no different in general as an MSF course that you passed. We're both on basically the same level. I might even be better. I'm assuming I'm ahead of everybody else that did the MSF course and never rode before. I already know that. So I'm happy about that. I felt confident getting on the road. As far as nervousness, I didn't practice my blinkers, and I do those pretty good. Occasionally I forget to turn them off, but it's because of whatever reason, I don't know. But I try to consciously think about it. So, and I don't stall, even though you saw that. And it's probably because I'm thinking about what I'm talking about for the first time. And, well, it happens. It's happened before. I have stalled, and I definitely stalled in the Benelli TNT 135 all the time. And that's starting off. So same situation, same issue. Not on this bike. I like to check my mirrors. There's nobody behind me, especially when I'm coming up to something that I know is a stop. So I got my brake on my front right here. I will downshift. I'll put my blinker on because I want to go right. And yeah, that's pretty much how this works. And then we can go. Turn my blinker off. Get the second. And let's tear it up. That's the fun part. Oh, I probably didn't mention this. I'm 54. So I'll be 55 this year. And key to me is making sure I brake in time and slow down for corners. I am new and I'm not messing around with that. This is the beginning of Brandywine Creek State Park. It's pretty nice actually, especially in the summertime. A lot of cars are up here. This is a cool little ride too. I'll show you. Kind of stuff I should be practicing is this, but I feel like once I do this, it's like, okay, pretty much got this down in general. It's all about speed in corners, okay? Well, actually, we can go up further after, but I want to show you. This here. This is where I usually stop. I brought the Benelli TNT up here one time. Someone drove it for me that has a motorcycle license, so you. Hold on, watch. Tell me it's like Gettysburg or something. It kind of reminds you of that kind of stuff. Yep, so here it is. And yeah. So trail braking. Don't know much about that, but I was in my truck the other day and was going around a corner kind of quick and realized I think I figured out trail braking. It's a different name. Sounds cool. Sounds different. But it's just like my truck. I put my brakes on a little lighter, and depending on how I am coming up to the curve, I give it a little more. Either or, I'm guessing it's just like a motorcycle. You give it a little bit, let everything load up, and then go from there. This is what it looks like. Kind of cool. Summertime, it's all green. All the trees have their stuff on them. But I think it's pretty cool. Now I will go up to the top, show you the whole park. But yeah, everybody learns different. Everybody's learning curve is different. It's not the same. I can tell you that right now. I feel like I picked it up pretty quick. And one of the things that when people say, you should get a bike, I go, I'm good. They go, why? And I go, it's not that I don't trust me. I just don't trust the cars around me. Like, I see people on their cell phones, in my truck, from my truck advantage, and like, I don't trust anybody. But then I realized, after riding that Benelli for a month or so, holy moly, I can't wait to get on my brother's bike. I can't wait to go to New Hampshire for Thanksgiving because I know I'm going to be able to get on this bike right here, the CBR 500. The Benelli is like 135cc. Horsepower-wise, it's like 11 to 14 horsepower. This bike is like 471, I believe, cc. And 47 horsepower. Like, there's a big difference. But at the same time, for practicing in my neighborhood, I am pretty comfortable. But you have to pay attention to intersections. You have to pay attention to the car in front of you. You have to look in your mirrors and make sure there's nobody on your butt. Because if someone in front of you, you're riding pretty close to them, and you don't realize that someone's riding pretty close to you, behind you, well, guess what? Might be a disaster going on, and you're not the one going to win. Everybody else will be fine. You won't. So make sure that you get your distance. Make sure people see you. Like, I'll assume this guy in this car sees me. But I'm not taking that chance. Do you know what I mean? If I'm at some point going to pass this guy, I'm going to let him know I'm passing him. I'm not just going to... I'm not a professional, so I'm not going to just... I'm not doing that. But it is so fun. Having this bike is so fun. It's literally opened up my days off. And I wanted to start a channel where it's like I can literally teach people things that I've asked and learned and on my own. The front brake and the rear brake, you're not going to get an answer for it. You're just not. Not the proper answer. You know why? Because every bike is weighted different. This is a sports bike. If you look at my profile picture, there's not a lot of weight in the back. So even though it's 30% in the back, I don't know. I don't want to fishtail. That's why I learned on the front, and I'm comfortable with the front. Now, when I'm slowing down like this, I will touch the back brake and hold it down for a second or two to let them know, hey, I am actually slowing down. You know? That's what I do. But, you know, they say tap, tap, tap. I don't really like the tapping part because I know there's cars out there that if they just touch their car brake or they're braking their car, like Honda Civics or whatever, you see it like the lights flash a few times. Well, if they tap it a couple times, the thing flashed 6 times. I don't really know what the hell they're doing until the brake actually goes solid. So for me, I hold my brake down for a second or so, and that kind of at least gets their eyes adjusted. Okay, he's doing something here. It looks like he's about to slow down. You know what I mean? And that's just my personal opinion. You can do whatever you want. But yeah, consciously you've got to understand that the engine braking thing is a real thing. But it does slow you down a lot. The engine will slow this bike down if I take my hand off of this thing right now, off the throttle right now. Well, the car behind me doesn't see any brake lights, and it doesn't know I'm slowing down. It sees me sitting in the same position, riding the same bike in the same line. So I've got to be aware of letting the person behind me know, for my safety, that I am about to slow down and stop. Not because of a light, but because of something maybe I see up ahead, the car in front of me. I try to be proactive with it. See a car light in front of this truck with his brake lights, I know the truck's going to probably get his brake lights. You know what I mean? So he's turning. Put my brake on a little bit, not enough to... This is basically engine braking right here. Hopefully you can hear it pretty good and you can hear me pretty good. I tested this mic out yesterday. I got it in the same spot on my chin strap right now, so everything should be good. But my whole channel, I hope you subscribe, and I'm going to be putting up videos every week to literally go over certain things. Today was kind of a tester with my mic and talking and driving at the same time, but I definitely want to go over stuff that the front and rear brake, trail braking, you know, you can understand the front and rear brake on whatever bike you're on, but when you're doing 55, 60, what is it like? I don't know. I do now, but I didn't. This bike's pretty heavy. It's coming straight onto me, not sideways, so it's not as bad as it would be on a lighter bike. And that's the point of heavier bikes. Don't be intimidated by a heavier bike. The bike wants to stay up, okay? It definitely does. What you do with that knowledge, when you U-turn or turn, all depends on speed, stuff like that. So, yeah. Alright, I'm done. Talk to you guys later. Hopefully you subscribe to my channel. And, I'll talk to you later.